All right, we can go ahead and get started. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. We're actually doing this remotely today from Durant, Oklahoma, as I'm traveling for a franchise owners meeting, which we're very excited about. But today, it's hard to believe it's December, and we are going to wrap up with our final AI Wisdom Wednesday for the year 2024. And I thought about organizing this webinar to showcase all the stuff we've talked about since starting AI Wisdom Wednesday earlier this year. And it's been pretty incredible, the stuff we've gone through, and it'd be a lot longer than 30 minutes. So I'm going to work with the team to think about how we might be able to recap some of this stuff, maybe in some materials that you could download to provide some insights sort of collectively from all these Wisdom Wednesdays we've done. But this one is a big one. Multi-agentic workflows. And so something that I've seen a lot of in the last 12 to 18 months in Gartner studies, being at school at Notre Dame in the master's program for data science, as well as other ways I get my news in AI is this shift moving towards not just using these tools kind of one off, which we're gonna do today, and I'm gonna show you kind of how to manually put together sort of an agent like workflow, but we're gonna be moving into this world where these tools we've been talking about are going to start doing tasks for us. They're going to start talking to other tasks. They're going to start talking to other software, and that's going to be the theme of today's AI Wisdom Wednesday. So again, we always like to kick it off the same way. The purpose of these are really just to give you guys hopefully some insights into AI, make it a little bit less overwhelming and burdensome. It's fun for me to do. I always learn when putting these together, and sort of keeps me on the front edge of what's out there and how can we leverage it, both as upper hand, but also in how we can help our customers. I've set the dates for AI Wisdom Wednesdays for the first 5 months here in the new year with our team. So we're going to try to keep the same cadence. So you see that here. Again, our team does a great job getting out, updates via email on when those upcoming dates will be. So look out for those emails and mark your calendar. It'll be 1:30 Eastern time each one of these days on Wednesday. All right, so our agenda, always like to recap the last topic discussed, share trending news in AI, introduce any new AI topics that have happened in the last 30 days or since we last spoke, try to do some form of a demo as much as possible, and then open up for Q&A, which we do have a chat option, I believe, that will go to panelists. If you do have questions, you can also post that through the webinar as well. All right, so let's start off with the first two pieces here. The last topic discussed and kind of sharing some trending news as it seems like it keeps picking up and getting faster. Last time we met in November, right before Thanksgiving, we covered Grok, which is part of xAI's product, formerly Twitter. That is their newest language learning model that launched in November, actually, of last year, 2023. And then in November this year, they just launched their second version of that model. Since we met, they've actually launched an updated version to their Grok model. So here in the screenshot from our last webinar, you'll see it says Grok 2 Mini was in beta. They've now updated that, which I'll show you when we get to the updates. We've covered almost all of these on this list here, but really the improvement that Grok's made over time has been pretty incredible from one model to the next over a very, very short period of time. Again, this is something I think we continue to share together as we're kind of on this journey of learning how to use all these tools in AI together as well. For some of the new stuff that's coming, this is one that was just recently announced. It's significant. It was released to the public. They've been saying the demand's so high that some people can't get access. I don't have access yet, so they have said the amount of computing power that's been required is definitely overwhelmed. The demand for this tool, but basically, Sora is a video generation. So not only are we going to be able to generate images, but you're going to be able to generate video clips as well with OpenAI. So when that is available and we can start using it effectively, we will absolutely show you guys how to use that. And I know we got a raised hand, so just give me a second here and we'll get to that question. Other updates, we have seen OpenAI update their model. They've released an update to their O1 mini model. They now have advanced reasoning is live. There's been some discussions about, is it really better than the prior model? I personally sometimes think when the new models go live, it takes them a little bit to get better. I've actually still sometimes go back to the GPT 4.0 when running tasks. It sometimes seems to be better and faster. but it is live and supposedly is passing more tests than the prior model. You now also have the ability to use Canvas in your custom GPTs. So for folks that have been a part of these AI Wisdom Wednesdays for a while, you may recall when we covered creating a custom GPT, and there's some capabilities you can attach to those. One of them is Canvas now, so something to keep in mind that was just recently announced with updates with OpenAI. They're doing something called 12 Days of Christmas, where every day leading up to Christmas, they're releasing a new feature. Grok 2 did release an improved reasoning model, as you can see here, and we'll probably see that a little bit today when we're clicking around doing our demo. There's also new ways to share conversations with Grok so that you can send your chats very similar to some of the other platforms that are out there. They have also improved their reverse image reasoning. So one of the things that Grok prides itself on is the ability to take in, you submit an image, whether it's an MRI, an X-ray scan, you name it. They're really trying to promote this as a way to get your own quick feedback. You can read memes. So very interesting way to approach some of the image use cases as it relates to some of these different AI tools that are out there. Amazon has launched their own platform called Nova. Amazon is a large investor in Anthropic, which owns Claude, a tool we've also used, and we'll use it again today. Just be on the lookout for hearing more and more about this. If it starts to really, show impact, we'll definitely cover it next year if we think we need to. But just good to know Amazon is now in the game of chat bots and LLM as well. Meta has released the most recent Llama version of their model. So you can see here, it just is reiterating the story we continue to share with each other on these Wisdom Wednesdays, is that models just keep getting better, right? There's obviously only one place for them to go, and that's closer to 100% accuracy with every single model that gets improved. And we will at some point do a Llama test. I've not used it, but we'll pick a day next year to cover Llama, because my understanding is it's starting to get better and better compared to ChatGPT and some of the others we have used. Some other things that are coming, we have a new Grok model coming. O2 for OpenAI should be coming soon, as well as GPT-5, and Claude 4 is in the works. So again, we'll be doing these for as long as we're allowed to, until the video's fake and it's not me anymore doing it on these AI Wisdom Wednesdays. But we have a lot to talk about every month. All right, so let me pause there. We had a quick question from Mike Lee. I don't know if Courtney or Sebastian was able to send him a quick message, maybe to ask him. Mike, we'll have somebody send you a message here on the webinar, if that's possible. Cool. All right, so today's topic is agentic AI. Not the easiest thing to say, but this is going to change how we work well into the future, and it's a double-edged sword. It's very exciting, but I think it can also be somewhat concerning for all of us out there. And so, my goal, like every AI Wisdom Wednesday, is to help provide insights and reignite passion to stay ahead of this. This is going to be the new frontier when it comes to how businesses are built, made, sustained, grow, et cetera. And so it's going to be critical to know this stuff. Gartner, for their 2025 top 10 strategic technology trends, number one is agentic AI. Of the top 10, almost all of these are AI related in some form, but agentic AI is the number one trend that they see for this coming year, and it's not going to change. So what is an AI agent? It's really just a piece of software that's going to execute tasks. So you can think of it like, if ChatGPT, if you could build your own ChatGPT within your business for a specific use case, and then have that version you built speak to another version that maybe another company's built to execute a workflow. Now you're going to start having these things automate tasks for you. So it may be a transactional situation. It may be something far more complex, like what Fortune 500 companies are dealing with, where it's actually going to talk to other systems, other agents to get the job done in an autonomous way, right? Whereas today we're doing a lot of the manual copy pasting of things. We're giving it the instructions, setting the goal. These agents will be able to set their own goals as it relates to getting things done. This is a great article on ZDNet. Some really great stuff out there about agentic AI. They say the new electricity. This I actually firmly believe, where they're saying 80% of business leaders are afraid of the dark. You guys sitting on here today are definitely in the elite in terms of being on the forefront of learning about this stuff. Most people have no idea these things are coming, which is probably the area that concerns me the most when it comes to AI. What does it mean though? So we've been historically using AI manually, right? So think of these little blue boxes as different tools, right? We've got Chat, GPT, you got Claude, and some of the other ones we've used. And we're going to be moving in 2025 into this sort of integrated AI process, right? Where they're just going to start talking to each other. Okay. And today there's definitely a level of development that has to take place in order to really create a truly agentic AI process. But the fact that you're on this call, we're on this call, we can introduce tools to start working through what are some workflows that you can create within your business. So when these things continue to become, a larger scale, right, more accessible to downstream businesses, outside of Fortune 500, you're going to be ready. And it's going to be very important to do the things we've talked about on these calls, like having your data ready, your data clean, making sure you protect your data, because all of that at the foundational level is what drives the value of these models, right? So today we're going to leverage a couple of these different tools that we've used in the past to kind of put together our own AI agentic workflow. Okay, so I know we've done sort of specific demos before on, hey, here's how ChatGPT works or a specific feature, but I kind of wanted to open it up to like, okay, well, what if we wanted to create a new landing page for something, right? So we're going to use Grok to go research keywords. We're going to create the landing page content with ChatGPT, and then we're going to have Claude design the actual landing page for us. And then we'll do a second use case, which I actually haven't even tested yet, because I wanted to sometimes on these demos like to sort of test and demo what it's like for me when I'm going in to do it for the first time. But I want to try to show what it would be like if we wanted to add a new revenue stream to our business at a facility, right? So let's say we want to create a recovery room with a rent tone option for some devices. And so we're going to use these tools to maybe create and test the idea of something like that. But before we get into that, one thing to keep in mind is you look at how these tools could be used and how can you start documenting this stuff internally. Okay, a good example of agentic AI or an agent is here on the screen. So an example of taking inbound client emails or maybe a support email use case, right? Where you get these emails that come in, right? As a software company, we deal with this, on a manual basis all the time. Uh, we send it off to our team to reach out to your clients on your behalf, et cetera. But the way this can work for you is you receive that email, right? You use a tool like ChatGPT to classify the topic, the urgency, have it draft the email for you. Humans are going to review it, within your team, and then you send the email. Okay. So one of the first things to do in getting your business and your mind frame around these AI agents is starting to just document some workflow diagrams like this. So you don't have to document every single thing in the world, but what are some things you're manually doing? What are things that you could really benefit from documenting how you use ChatGPT, how you use Claude, how you use these different tools? Because what's going to happen is as these tools and other new tools are introduced, you're going to start to be able to plug in those tools to these workflows, and they're going to eventually do it themselves. So eventually you won't have a human reviewing that draft. It'll eventually be completely automated. Just a little bit more on why I'm kind of covering today the different use of these tools, right? There's something called the AI agency gap that Gartner talks about. And what that basically means is on the far left, this is kind of how we've been using ChatGPT and all these tools today, right? Just really as chatbots, right? To make a single task more effective, improve coding, all these different use cases. Where in the far right is really where we're going to be going, right? Where you're going to have complex goals where the agent's going to solve it themselves. It's going to be autonomous. It'll adapt to the situation you're in as a business, and what the trends are in the industry, et cetera. But so there is a gap to getting there, right? And I think that's where you start to see that being the number one topic for this coming year is you're going to start seeing more and more of this stuff developed, more tools, more ability to connect these different agents. And in the meantime, we're going to help you figure that out by how do you leverage the current tools and create these sort of workflow diagrams like this to get yourself set up. Okay, let me pause there, and I'm just going to check the chat, see if we ended up getting our question. Oh, yeah, it was a mistake. Cool. Well, hello. Awesome. So let me exit here. Just give me 1 second. Swap over here. And I do want to show you Sora real quick because I'd mentioned it in the presentation. So Sora is a video generation platform that will cover when it becomes available. It is available now, but if you go to start now, it actually just says demand's too high. But I wanted to show you at least some of the examples of the video that you can create on here. So, I mean, imagine how valuable this becomes for a small business, right? I mean, it basically, where you used to have to spend thousands of dollars to go get some really good digital content, you're going to be able to create your own display ads, your own digital content for websites, et cetera. So this is one we will cover next year once we're able to get full access and use it. Okay, so with that, the first use case I want to start with is let's create a website, landing page. So this workflow is for anybody out there who wants to, maybe you want to update an existing landing page, maybe you want to create a new landing page for a service or something you want to offer that you don't currently offer. And so Grok here is one I always like to use for researching, trends. It's connected to obviously more conversations than any of the other tools that are out there. So it's a great platform or tool to use for that research, for what are people saying about a particular topic. So as you kind of think about where do these different tools fit into your own business, this is one that you could use for trends and keywords, which we did cover in the last AI Wisdom Wednesday. But let's just say we want to search for what are some of the top trending keywords for youth soccer camps. You'll notice here the Grok 2 new, so that's sort of showing you the new model from last time we were there. Yeah, and this makes sense. So being in youth sports, we know, I mean, you hear ID camps all the time, elite soccer camps makes sense. Okay, so let's take this and now let's ask it for a concise list of keywords to use for a new landing page that will be used for launching a new camp, youth soccer camp in February 2025. Okay, cool. A lot of good keywords. Maybe we'll leave scholarships out, but let's just start with this. Okay, so in this case, we've used Grok to help us kind of identify some keywords. We could also ask, what are some trends? I'm asking what are some trends that might be helpful to include in our camp programming. And so here's what I love about Grok is it's including web pages it's searching as well as the conversation content on X that it's trained on. And so all this is helpful. Right. So again, this is helpful because it's grabbing what people talk about, what's happening, versus if we use ChatGPT, we can use search, but it's going to use the internet versus maybe what people are actually talking about and conversing about on a platform. So we're going to take this and now we're going to put it into ChatGPT to create the content for that landing page. So I think I copied over the keywords. So let's create our prompt here. We'll say act as an expert SEO marketing. At the end. Use the below keywords and trending topics to write content for a new youth soccer camp that I am launching in February for ages, I'll say 6 to 14. Name of the business is called Mac Daddy Youth Soccer. All right, here we go. Keywords. And we're going to put our. Now you can see why agentic AI is going to be huge, right? Because right now we're creating our own agent by bouncing between these, but eventually, as upper end AI is developing, you'll have your own agent that's doing all this for you. All right, so let's see what it does here. I do think ChatGPT tends to still be the best when it comes to writing content. They also have some tools that are really helpful for writing, like Canvas, like we've talked about before. Okay, so this is great. All right, so naturally, in our prompts, for your business, you'd want to put in specific stuff about what it is you're actually wanting to do within that camp, or whatever it is, on that landing page you're wanting to launch. But you can tell here, this looks great. One concern I'd have is I don't see any calls to action on here. So let's put that in here to correct it. I guess there's a call to action at the bottom, but we should be doing something a little higher up. Okay, cool. So now let's take this, and let's have Claude create a landing page for us. So I'm going to copy all this. Pop into Claude and say, all right, design a new landing page to promote my upcoming youth soccer camp. Use the below content for page. All right. I am going to include that other piece here. See what it does. One thing with Claude, since we've last covered this, is you can actually choose your response. We're going to do normal for now, but we'll cover all that in a future thing. All right, so you hit enter. So why do I love Claude for moving into the design? I think the setup that they have for coding and helping you code and sort of visualize designs, for whether it's a WordPress website, Wix, maybe, we're going to show a use case where you could forecast something for your business. I think it does it's a great platform from a UI perspective and does a really, really good job. So here's an example of that, right? Kind of basic, which is fine. We're not going to generate images here, but it is giving us a great framework, for the different types of website platforms we all use. That gives us the different header types, where to have our call outs, things of that nature. Now, what's great with Claude, you can also publish these. So when you publish them, you can then share them with your team. Or if you have a website designer you work with, you can say, hey, our team's put together the content, and then you have somebody go say, hey, here's your link to do that, right? Now we could say something like, this is clearly designed for mobile responsive, which is great, which basically means if we pop this out and go like this, it's going to look great on a phone, right? But you could work with your prompt to make adjustments, right? So maybe you want to center up some of these items versus having them left aligned. Maybe you want to prompt it, which we can do right now. Let's ask it to not be so mobile. Don't look so mobile responsive on the landing page. It's too much like a mobile website when viewing in a web browser. All right. Desktop. and provide where to add images. Bring life to the landing page. All right, so now let's see what it does. And this coding can be helpful for when you are designing your website. I know sometimes code can terrify people, but a good use case could be, let's say you're using WordPress and you're using like Elementor, and there's some options to add some custom CSS. You can use this to do that and not be as sort of terrified of that. So it added some things for us, where to put some images. It's actually nice. It gives us the pixel dimensions for that image, so we know it won't be too big, too small. So again, some really, really good stuff. Oh, they added this, which is nice. Call to action, little background wallpaper, 1920 by 600. So again, a really great looking framework for our landing page. Okay, that was one use case. Let's try one more. I think we have enough time. We're running a little long, but that's okay. So I was curious if we could use this to try to launch a new revenue stream out of business. So one idea that would be fun to see if it would be successful is what are the most popular recovery room products for athlete training? So I'm thinking, Theragun, HyperIce, those types of devices. I'm just curious to see what's the most popular. And then we're going to ask ChatGPT to create a business concept to launch a new revenue stream in a recovery room that lets people use these things, but then gives them the option to rent or rent to own. So a lot of times you can make good money on retail, but what if we let people just, hey, you could take it home and you just pay an extra 10 bucks, for every month or week you have it. And then at some point you pay it off, and then we've made the money, or they just keep it. So this gives us some really good ideas on what people are talking about that are popular. So let's ask it to just pull out the products. So we got the Theragun percussion massager. So we'll just copy and paste this here. Now we're gonna ask ChatGPT. We'll start a new one. We could use any one of our GPTs here. There's Business Maverick. Maybe that's a good one to use, but I'll just use the basic one for now. Act as a business model expert. My youth field hockey training facility is launching a new revenue stream that offers a recovery room with top of the line recovery equipment that can be used. And we want to offer a rent to own option to give people a chance to own this amazing equipment and generate new retail revenue for us. Take the below products and pull out the top 5, and then recommend pricing model, and for us, and terms for our rent to own recovery room space. And then we're going to use Claude to forecast how this might impact our revenue. Now I could have connected this to, you could connect this to the web, which would be really cool. So, let's say the first step of our agentic workflow process is we're going to create this revenue stream. Then we want to create a landing page for it. We want to create signage in our facility for it. So we could take this, ask ChatGPT to go pull actual product information for the products we've now selected, right? So again, all these things that would have taken 2 quarters of business time to do, we can do in 30 minutes. All right, so now we've got our top equipment options, and then we're getting our pricing model. So it's going to recommend, that's probably too long. And my opinion, should be more like a library book. So let's say I prefer to have the rental option be more like a library book from a timing perspective. It has 6 to 18 months is too long. So let's give, well, although I don't know how detailed we need to get. I think they're obviously showing us if you want to do the rent own out of the gates, 6 to 18 months does make sense because then you got to pay it off. But I would also probably add an option to, um, to have a more of a short-term rental, but this is pretty cool. So let's just take this and then add it to our forecast. This is really cool. So I think with Claude, as part of your workflows within your business, this is one that we haven't really, I don't think we really covered on our Claude demo. But it's fantastic at creating small apps to do like financial forecasting, financial planning, et cetera. So I'm going to ask it, we are launching the below, or say revenue stream in our youth hockey facility and want to forecast the impact revenue over the next 18 to 24 months. Build a forecast model with a worst, base, and best case scenario. We can toggle to show revenue potential and costs of the equipment. Now, when we pay off the devices, and what our profits are. All right, see what it does. Now, again, these are slightly sloppy prompts just from a time perspective, but it's going to give you the gist of what you would need to do. And I saw we had a Courtney, there was another raised hand. I don't know if you saw it, but could send them a quick chat to be helpful. All right. Let's publish this in a second. So I built a little model and gives us our base case, worst case, best case. Okay, this is very, very basic. I tend to like some visuals with my financials, so you can ask it, include a time series chart to display the revenue and other financial metrics. Also add an input to adjust rental price. Let's try that. It'd be nice to test different scenarios. So again, with a little bit more time, we'd be able to build out a pretty incredible, forecast. And I'm telling you right now, as somebody that knows these devices, I own a Theragun. I mean, I absolutely would rent one. So this is a good business idea if you got nothing else from this call. So let's see what it does here. So again, you could use ChatGPT to code. So you may be thinking, okay, well, why wouldn't I just do this in ChatGPT? And ChatGPT is good at coding, but Claude is a little bit better from a coding perspective. But they also have these project platform and these artifacts. So the ability to publish it like this is just a much better experience. And obviously, the goal is to maximize. It's all about efficiency when we're doing this stuff. So here's a much better one that I would have preferred. So. I've got a whole bunch of Zoom tools in front, so it's hard to see, but you kind of get the gist here, right? So we got our worst case scenario. It's saying we break even on month 20 if we got 22 active rentals. Best case, let's just go back to worst case. So Obviously, if you charge more, you need fewer rentals. Nobody's going to pay, rent something for 135. But again, this is where we may want to introduce two models: a rental, just go borrow it model that's like $10 a month to increase our number of active rentals, or a rent to own option, right? So, tons and tons of ways you can leverage a tool like this. Go back into ChatGPT, ask it to update. Hey, we like the rent to own option, but we want to have two options for people. Help define those, put it into table format, whatever it is you want to do. So, hopefully this has given a great example of how you can start to build these different workflows. Again, I would start here, just find a free tool like Google Slides or something where you can just create something as simple as this to know, all right, what's the use case? What tool are we using? Where do humans get involved? I would make one person within the business, the person that does this. You can use upper hand if you want to help you with this stuff. But this is going to become critical because in 2025, I'm on the record saying I guarantee we'll be able to do some of this stuff without any of us interacting with it. So with that, I'm going to see if there was any questions. The other raised hand was also seems to be a mistake. No worries. Yeah, Zoom does have a feature where if you wave, I think it will auto do it. Okay, cool. I'll pause sharing. All right, cool. Well, if you guys have any questions, after this, let us know. We will have our next Wisdom Wednesday on January 15th, where we'll do an annual recap of this past year, and then we'll cover any new tools that come out between now and then, which I know there's a couple that have already come out since putting all this stuff together. And then we'll try to give a preview for what is 2025 going to look like. I'm going to also consider doing a Wisdom Wednesday, where I show you a platform that's like an LLM as a service platform. So with these tools right now, you're obviously going and logging into each one of them differently or individually, right? Well, there are tools out there like Perplexity and others where it's one login that plugs into multiple models, and then they have their own LLM built on top that would allow you to do a lot of this from one location. And I do think that would be a really good use case for a lot of all of us here on this call. So we'll probably cover something like this as well. We just didn't have time to do that today. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate your time, and have a great holiday season and Happy New Year.